In section 5.2, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Just remember, a rational in math, we mean that is a fraction. So we're going to have fractions we're multiplying and dividing. We're going to start, I know I skipped quite a few simpler ones, on number 8, just to show you some of the simpler ones I skipped. For these, you're just simplifying. So for instance, 18 and 12, well, what divides into 18 and 12? Well, 6 divides into 18 and 12. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 6 goes into 12 2 times. And then subtract your exponents, the larger ones on the bottom. So we'll say 4 minus 3 is k to the first power. So, number 1. So, I decided to skip ahead to some of them a little more difficult ones. So number 8, we need to factor. And for most of these, we're going to have to factor. So always think about, is there anything I can factor out of everything first? Well, for the top, it starts off with r squared, so there's nothing I can factor out of everything first. But for the bottom, I can factor a 4 out. If I factor a 4 out, that becomes r squared plus 10r plus 9. At the top, I can go ahead and factor into r plus 9, because 9 times 9 is 81, 9 plus 9 is 18. If you're having trouble with that, remember we can use our little box. Okay, and that'll work as well. To remind you, I'll go ahead and use the box for this one. So I have r squared, I have 9. Well, what multiplies to make 9, but adds to make 10? Well, 9 and 1. And of course we have r and r. So r plus 9, r plus 1. Still have the 4 there, it doesn't go away. R plus 9, r plus 1. Okay. And the goal of this is I'm trying to cancel stuff out. Well, what can I cancel out? I can cancel out one of my r plus 9s in the top with that r plus 9 in the bottom. And then, does anything cancel out? Anything else cancel out? I don't believe so. So I'm just going to write down what I have. In the top, I have r plus 9. In the bottom, I have 4, r plus 1. Notice that I left the bottom factored out, so we're going to keep doing that. So let's say you factor it, nothing cancels out, or something cancels out, but you still have factor terms. That's okay. Just leave them factored out. That's okay. You don't need to multiply them back out. So there's number 8. This is simplifying just a fraction, but we talked about in our title that we're doing multiplying and dividing. So let's see what it looks like when we're multiplying and dividing. So 19 we're going to work. So when I multiply two fractions, I just multiply across. But to make this easier, I'm going to try to cancel out as much as I can before I actually do any multiplying. And so let's look at the top left side. Is there something I can factor out of 3v minus 12? Well, I can factor a 3 out, leaving me with v minus 4. In the bottom, I can factor that into v. Well, what multiplies to make positive 4 adds to make negative 5? Well, that would be negative 1, negative 4 times. Well, factor a 10 out of top and bottom, but I can also factor out a v squared. So that leaves me with v minus 1 all over. I can factor a 10v squared out of the bottom as well, leaving me with v minus 7. And then once I get here, I'll see if I can cancel stuff out. Now remember, this is multiplication, so I can really think of this as all one big fraction. Okay, so it doesn't matter which fraction it's in, top and bottom. So for instance, v minus 1, v minus 1, cancel those out. 10v squared, 10v squared. V minus 4, V minus 4, all cancels out. And what am I left with? Well, not a whole lot. In the top, I'm left with 3. In the bottom, I'm left with v minus 7. So that whole thing simplified to just that. All right, we're going to try number 22. So 22 is division. If you remember with division, we have to flip the second fraction. I hear a lot of you talking about the whole keep, change, flip thing. This is where that came into play. So I'm going to factor the first fraction. I'll factor a 2 out, giving me m plus 9. And the bottom is just m plus 1, nothing more I can do with that. I'm going to change that division to multiplication, and then I'm going to flip this fraction. So that m squared plus 3m minus 40, that's going to be on the bottom. So I'm going to say m and m. Well, let's think about this 40. What multiplies to make 40 adds to make 3? Well, I know 2 and 20, that doesn't add to make 3. 4 and 10, still no. Let's get a little bit bigger. How about 5 and 8? Oh, that has a difference of 3. And I know one's positive, one's negative because it multiplies to make negative 40. And I know the bigger one has to be positive, the smaller one negative, so that it adds to make positive 3. So negative 5 plus 8. For the top, which is going to be the bottom, oops, didn't want a negative m there, sorry, m. What multiplies to make negative 5 adds to make negative 4? Well, that's going to be negative 5 and positive 1. All right, and now I can cancel stuff out. Let's see here. I have minus 5 and a minus 5, a plus 1 and a plus 1, and that's it. So on the top, I have 2m plus 9. On the bottom, I have m plus 8. Again, I'm not actually multiplying anything together. I'm just leaving it in its factored form. All I'm really doing is canceling out and just writing out whatever's left. And that's it. All the rest of the problems should look something like that or a little simpler. So good luck on the rest of those.